When the sun rose over the Wyoming plains and the dust glimmered like powdered gold, Luke Callahan, lone cowboy, ranch owner, and a man whose heart had been silent since the war, stood outside the post station with worry humming in his chest because the stagecoach that was supposed to bring his mail-order bride, Elara June Whitmore, arrived with a shattered wheel and blood on the canvas, but no bride, only a trembling driver who swore he remembered her soft voice and braided hair before bandits stormed the canyon pass, sending the wagon tipping into the ravine. And though the driver crawled out half dead, he never saw if the girl survived. And hearing this, Luke felt something inside him crack open, something fierce, protective, a pull he didn't understand because he hadn't met her. Yet not truly, but he'd read her letters, every delicate line filled with hope, bravery, and loneliness that mirrored his own. And he refused to accept that the woman who wrote such tender dreams was gone. So he saddled Duststorm, his wild buckskin stallion, shoved extra ammunition into his belt, and rode toward the wreckage trail, heart pounding like thunder, following splintered wood, torn fabric, spilled flour, and faint drops of blood through the jagged canyon where wind moaned like ghosts, until he found the stagecoach twisted against the rocks, wheels broken, horses missing, and the desert silent as a grave. But then, there, half buried beneath shattered crates, he saw a piece of pale blue fabric fluttering like a dying breath. The same color she had written about in her letter. "I will be wearing blue so you recognize me." And Luke's chest seized as he dug through the debris with shaking hands until he uncovered her. Elara, her face scraped, her hands trembling, her breathing shallow as paper, her dress torn but alive, barely, whispering his name like she had known him all her life. And he gathered her into his arms, feeling the fragile weight of her against him as though holding a tomorrow he never believed in, carrying her to his horse while vowing silently, fiercely, that no bandit, no storm, no cursed canyon would take her from him. And as he rode back toward his ranch with her head resting against his chest, he swore that whoever hurt her, whoever left her broken in the dust, would learn what kind of man Luke Callahan became when someone touched what was his. Because the moment he looked into Elara's bruised but hopeful eyes, he knew she was his future, his beginning, and he would protect her, even if it meant burning the whole frontier to the ground. Elara awoke the next morning in Luke Callahan's cabin, the scent of pine, leather and warm firewood wrapping around her, like a blanket as pain throbbed. Through her ribs and her memory came in scattered flashes, the wagon tipping, men shouting, the world going dark, until she remembered the moment. Strong arms lifted her from the rubble, and when she turned her head, she saw Luke watching her, hat off, concern etched into every line of his rugged face, and she felt something inside her melt because he didn't look at her with pity but with a fierce tenderness she had only dreamed someone might give her. Yet before either could speak long, the sound of hooves thundered across the yard, and Luke's expression hardened into steel as he pushed her gently behind the bed, grabbed his rifle, and stepped onto the porch, where the canyon bandits, recognizable by their snakeskin vests and wolf-jawed grins, rode in a semicircle, claiming the girl was theirs, saying she had seen too much, saying they would take her back and finish what the wreckage began. But Luke stood tall in the doorway, rifle steady, voice low and deadly, as he told them she was under his protection now, and any man who dared cross onto his land would not ride off breathing. And the leader laughed, firing a warning shot that splintered Luke's porch post. But the cowboy didn't flinch. Instead, he moved with the calm precision of a man forged in war and heartbreak, shooting the leader's hat clean off his skull in the span of a breath, sending the whole gang reeling. And the firefight exploded like a storm, bullets ringing against wood and metal as Luke fought alone against 6 men, determined that none of them would reach Elara, who, despite her trembling limbs, crawled toward the window and hurled a burning log at one bandit trying to flank Luke, giving the cowboy just enough time to take him down. And by the time the dust settled and the last horse fled into the hills, Luke was bleeding from his shoulder, panting but alive, and Ilara rushed to him with tears burning her eyes because he had nearly died for a woman he had only known through ink and a single rescue. But when she pressed her hands to his wound and whispered, "Why would you risk everything for me?" Luke cupped her cheek with a rough, warm hand and answered with the raw truth he didn't hide anymore. "Because losing you scared me more than facing any bullet. Because I've been waiting a long time for something to fight for, and it's you." Ilara June. Her breath hitched, her heart thundering as she leaned into him, realizing that in this wild land, where death brushed close and life was fragile, she had found a man who saw her worth, her courage, her soul, and as she whispered his name, promising she would stay, would heal, would build a life at his side, Luke lifted her into his arms, holding her like something sacred, and together they stepped back into the cabin, sealing the beginning of a love born from wreckage, danger, destiny, and a cowboy's stubborn, unbreakable devotion. If you enjoyed this emotional, powerful Wild West rescue love story, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss another heart-pounding cowboy romance. Your support helps bring more epic stories of danger, destiny, and unforgettable frontier love. Subscribe now! Your next adventure starts here!